same as sensory to the mouth. Trigeminal nerve, so third branch for the lower jaw, second branch for upper jaw. And now that brings us to the salivary glands. So I'm not going to diagram the salivary glands, but I will identify their secretions. These are also accessory organs, all right? So food is not going through them, but they have ducts that send it to the mouth area. Yes. So our largest salivary gland is the parotid gland. Para means around or next to, and otic, the odd otid part refers to otic. So this is the one by the ear, all right? The 5 branches of the facial nerve pass through that to extend onto the face. Its secretion is serous, or very watery. So if you're smelling cinnamon rolls baking or chewing gum and your mouth gets full of a watery saliva, it's going to be coming from the parotid gland, which is innervated by glossopharyngeal. This is the one that has digestive enzymes, and we'll talk about those on Tuesday or Thursday when we start the physiology of digestion. We may get to the mouth on Tuesday. Primarily amylase and lipase. Most of us do not chew long enough for those to have a chemical effect. But if you were to take some crackers, saltine crackers, and brush the salt off and chew them for about 5 minutes, they would start to taste sweet. All right, it wouldn't be anything that you could absorb because we're going from a starch, a polysaccharide, to a disaccharide, to sucrose, which is not a small enough molecule to cross the plasma membrane of your cells, but you would be able to taste it. Most of us don't chew crackers or anything long enough for that to actually occur. In addition to digestive enzymes, we have antimicrobial proteins. To help take care of pathogens in the mouth. And some of us are secretors. We have IgA. Remember, that's in saliva and tears. That's going to be produced by these cells that are of the dark purple color, similar to the pancreas. So this is not a slide from the parotid gland, it's actually a slide from the submandibular, but the parotid would be entirely these dark purple mulberry-like clusters of cells that are wide at the base and taper towards the center to secrete into small ducts. And then that flows into larger ducts. Again, it looks very similar, almost identical to the pancreas, except that you know the pancreas has the endocrine cells, the islets, and you won't see those. If you see those, you know that it's the pancreas, and I won't show you the pancreas without those. Okay? All right. The next set are J-shaped, they're elongated. They're J-shaped with the curve of the J on the outside of the mandible and the long part of the J on the inside of the mandible. And these are identified as submandibular. And they're both serous and mucus. So I'm putting serous first because they're more serous than they are mucus. And I always remember the difference between submandibular and sublingual because the S for serous and the M for mucus.
Oh my goodness, I love shit like that.
And this has some enzymes in it. The mucus is there to help bind food together, so when you're eating that cracker, you're not spraying crumbs everywhere. And as you move it up back from side to side in your mouth, it has binds it together. So here would be the mucus cells. They're not goblet cells, all right? They're clusters of cells like our submucosal glands secreting the mucin protein. And then we have the sublingual, which is primarily mucus. It'll have some serous. So if you look at our serous, our mucus cells, they'll have a white frothy appearance. There will be little caps of the deep purple because of all the proteins. And so these are known as serous demilunes or serous crescents. So they, if it's only the sublingual gland, then it doesn't have much serous at all. Submandibular and sublingual are both innervated by
Bless you.
facial, cranial nerve 7. Now, they're glands. They're not endocrine glands. They're exocrine glands. And so they have ducts. And it used to be much more interesting to write a test question about these because the ducts were named after individuals. So parotid gland had Stinson's duct, and submandibular had Wharton's, and sublingual had the ducts of Rivetus. And now it's just the duct of the parotid gland or the submandibular duct. It's really, it's like asking who was buried in Grant's tomb. Just don't bother with it. So submandibular parotid gland duct crosses superficial to the masseter and empties into your cheek just opposite your upper second molar. So you can use the tip of your tongue to go in there and kind of find a little tiny bump or papilla. And if you massage it, sometimes you can feel a squirt of saliva come out.
It drains into what?
Submandibular, pardon?
It drains to what?
It goes into the mouth.
But you said next to a tooth.
Oh, second molar. It opens up in the mouth opposite the second molar. Submandibular, you can see just part of it here under the jaw. You can see it better with our tongue model. Okay, and this is sublingual is actually more anterior, just under the tongue, and all of its ducts empty up behind the incisors, so it can cause a lot of tartars to form on the back of your teeth there from that. And so these are those ducts. These are the ones in the submandibular duct that they're called leaking. People squirt. I never heard of that until a couple years ago. When they shoot out a few feet or more. So again, these are used more not for the digestive, but enzymes, but to help to bind the food together. If you're eating something that's dry. Okay, we'll stop there. We have 2 lab quizzes on the digestive system. One is on Tuesday, and the other one I believe is Thursday. Anyway, the second one is more of the histology, kind of like the sequence we did for the respiratory system. And the first one is more of the models